I'm Carlisa Wright, Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility at Desert Financial. I'm also the Executive Director of the Foundation. And I am so excited because I'm joined here today with Alexandria Sharp. She is one of our dedicated and passionate financial wellness specialists. And we're here today to recognize April as Financial Literacy Month. So at Desert Financial, our vision is to create financial solutions that empower financial well-being. So Alexandria, I just love to start off and hear more about what inspired you to become a financial educator.
I consider myself an educator by nature. I've taught from the elementary level up to adult learners. And in my own personal life, I really loved learning about financial wellness topics. And I didn't realize that I could cross the two together and be an educator on these topics. And so when I saw this role at Desert Financial, I was so excited. And right now we're seeing across the country, a lot of states are trying to implement policies where students are going to get this education. And there are a lot of adults who wish that they had had this education when they were young. And so I'm happy to be a part of spreading this education to the community, to adult learners as well as younger learners.
So you mentioned delivering financial education to both youth as well as adults. Could you just tell us why it's so important to receive financial literacy education for all ages?
I think the main thing is that money is a factor of life. It's a reality, we can't avoid it. So it's better to learn the skills that we need, and we can do that at different ages. So for elementary students, they can get an allowance and learn about saving and spending money. And then for adults, they are more often interested in learning about investing, retirement savings. And I think another thing that's important, as I said before, a lot of people don't get this information when they're growing up. So you can be an adult and still need to revisit budgeting, the basic steps. Even though I work in this industry, I still myself, at least every month, am looking at what I've spent, what I'm learning about myself, and what goals are shifting. And so it's important at every age to keep reviewing these things, and you can be a lifelong learner.
So if I heard you kind of managing your finances, it's sort of like staying physically well and being mentally well. This is something that you have to work on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis. It's not just something that you do once and put it on a shelf and never think about it again.
Yeah, you can develop muscles that make it easier over time. And I think another thing, again, because it's a reality, finding ways to make it fun, that can be pretty easy for younger learners. And even as an adult, you can find ways that make it enjoyable for you. If you're someone who's motivated by the amount, then maybe you want to hit those goals of amounts that you're saving. If you're someone who's motivated by experiences, then saving for those experiences that you want to have. But it's a lifelong thing.
And so we touched on it a little bit. How can improving someone's financial literacy, how can that benefit a person's overall well-being?
Yeah, one of the things is we know when we talk about health, stress is a really big contributing factor to that. And the reality is for a lot of people, money is a huge contributing factor to stress. So when we learn how to deal with our money, we can improve our stress levels. And hopefully that also leads to better outcomes in our financial well-being and overall well-being as well.
Could you tell us a bit more about the key components when creating a personal budget?
Definitely. So when we talk about a budget, it's just your income and your expenses. What is coming in, what is going out. And in my opinion, it's easier and probably beneficial to break that into your needs, the things that you have to have in order to survive day to day, your wants, because it's important to have joy in life, obviously, and then your savings. I look at savings as an expense because you're paying a future version of yourself. So in the future, you're going to be really happy if there's an experience that you want to have. Maybe you want to go to a concert or a trip, or even if there's an emergency situation, to have that money is really important. And then you brought up another thing. A budget is individual. It is for you. So it's based on what you value. I think that's important to note because there can be a lot of shame around money, but the reality is if you have budgeted for all of your needs, you have a place to stay, you have food, adequate food on the table, and any dependents that are in your care are well taken care of. From there, that excess money is yours to use, whatever you value. If that's repairing antique cars, maybe that's an expensive hobby, or you like outdoor activities that are expensive. It doesn't matter. If it's valuable to you, that's what's important. I know people can feel a lot of pressure from the outside of things that people think they should be doing financially, but think about what you really value and start from there.
I just want to touch on something that you said. You said when talking about money or budgeting that there can be a lot of shame around that. how do you at Desert Financial, when you're facilitating workshops or webinars, how do you make it safe for our members, for the community, for our team members to talk about what sometimes can be a taboo topic in terms of money?
Yeah, I tried to enter without judgment and to understand that we all have our past of how we've come to money and habits that we've learned, and it's okay. You start from where you are and you move forward.
And so we know for all of us, retirement is on the horizon. Could you tell us the benefits of starting retirement planning early?
Funny enough, this is one of my favorite topics and kind of how I got into my interest in financial wellness. So with retirement, you can start early, and there's a lot of benefits to that. One of them, believe it or not, people can retire early. If you've been investing heavily in your retirement savings early on, over the course of your life, that compound interest is going to add up. So that's the biggest thing about retirement savings. You want to start early so that you have the compound interest over the course of your life. And along with being able to retire early, you could also be investing so heavily, so early on, that you can stop contributions or drastically lower your retirement contributions. And over the course of your life, you'll still have the amount of money that you need in retirement. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Of course, people need to consider factors like their lifestyle needs after retirement. They need to consider inflation, but these things are possible. Another thing I want to add is that adults can actually gift a retirement savings, like a traditional IRA, Roth IRA, to younger people in their lives and give them that gift of an early start on retirement.
And so we know having an emergency fund for those unexpected expenses, car tires, a flood in the house, potentially a new washer or dryer can be so important. How does having an emergency fund contribute to financial security?
You hit the nose on the head with that one. Is basically things are going to come up. They happen all the time. And so it's better to be prepared for them. We talked about stress earlier. A lot of times those incidents, there's the financial stress and there's the stress of the incident itself. If you have the means to take care of the financial part, you'll lessen some of that stress. And even in my life, a couple of years ago, I had a pretty intense health issue, and it was kind of like life or death, and it was a very difficult ordeal, but at the same time, I knew that I had the money to take care of it, and that took care of some of the stress of that incident. And so I think that that's something that can be really helpful to people overall.
And so after watching this interview, hearing about your work here at Desert Financial, what are some actionable steps that our community members, our employees, our team members here at Desert Financial, and the community at large can take to help improve their financial literacy?
I'm glad that you asked that question. It wraps up a lot of the things that we discussed. I would put this into 3 steps. The first one is going to be reflect on your past. The second is going to be reflect on your present. And then the third is going to be take action. So when I say reflect on your past, we spoke about how everyone has their own personal experience with money. So take some time to think about, how was money regarded in your household? What was your relationship to it at that time? What is your relationship to it today? And whatever comes up with that, heal what that is. We can't change the past, but we can use it to inform our future. So then we get brought to reflect on your present. Take some time to look at what you've really been spending, not just thinking, oh, I think I'm doing okay, but reflect on, what do my bank statements say? What does my credit card say? The receipts that I have in the house, what have I been spending my money on? And you can look backwards over the months and see what that's like, and then determine what changes you want to make moving forward. And then lastly, take action. Once you've done all of that reflecting, you can decide, where do I want to be? And you can start planning towards that.
Alexandria, thank you for all that you do for our team members, our community at large. We really appreciate your dedication to inspiring others and helping them take control of their financial future. So I know I have a lot of reflection to do in my near future, some journaling maybe, and then I think just what you said, most importantly, is taking action, taking that first step forward to create a financial plan and to create a budget. So thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we're going to be joined by Lisa Corum, our Senior Financial Wellness Educator, to talk about some more important financial topics. I'm joined now by Lisa Corum, our Senior Financial Wellness Educator here at Desert Financial Credit Union. Lisa, so great to have you.
Great to be here.
So Lisa, could you tell us a little bit more about how you got into your role here at Desert Financial. And we'd love to hear a personal story about how financial literacy has made a positive impact in your life.
Yes, I have been with the credit union for 15 years, and my first career was in HR. But I'd always been doing a lot of financial education with myself in the background, trying to improve my overall finances and my financial situation. With the credit union, I started on the corporate social responsibility team, I would say about, oh my gosh, 4 years ago. 4 years ago is when I started on the team. And it's been a great role. I have actually enjoyed educating our nonprofit partners and our employees. Personally, what turned on the switch for me, back in 2007, I was severely struggling financially. We were going through a huge recession, and at that time, I was not prepared if the table should change and I were to kind of lose my job. I was not in a situation where I had emergency savings. My credit score was low, although I didn't have a lot of credit cards. I just was struggling. And so I really kind of took the bull by the horns and decided that I was tired of feeling emotionally stressed about my finances, and at that time decided to do all that I could to educate myself on what I needed to do to get out of that hole.
We appreciate you, Lisa, and all that you do to prepare our members, our team members, as well as the community for financial success and to be prepared when setbacks occur, because we know that happens in life. So thank you for sharing your personal story. So we know it's important to set financial goals, but why should we do it? Why should we do it?
Kind of at that time, I didn't have a budget, right? So when you don't have a budget, you don't understand where your money is going. And I heard a saying, without having a plan, you fail to plan. And so it was important for me to really truly understand, how much am I spending on a daily basis? What areas do I need to cut back on to really make my finances meet? And so having a budget, to me, is the most important thing that you could do to set yourself up for financial success.
It's a great takeaway. Build a budget if you don't have one. And so could you share some practical tips for cutting expenses and saving money?
Awesome. Yes, I can. Again, a lot of this has to do with personal steps that I've taken throughout my financial journey. And back then, coupons were big. In my mindset, coupons were like actually having money. Now things have been digitalized, if you will. And so I still believe in accessing digital savings to help me save money. I'm really kind of prudent about saving now, and so any opportunity that I can take to save money, I try to do that. I think the other thing about cutting expenses is kind of back to that budget, right? And really understanding what you're spending and making sure that you're looking at all of your costs. And I think the other piece of that is when you're saving money on the front end of expenses, then that means that you have extra money, if you will, to add to your savings or your retirement to plan for those future events.
And why is it so important for individuals in Arizona and throughout the country to understand their credit score?
Credit plays an important role, especially when you're looking at major items to buy, right? Those major high dollar items like purchasing a home or purchasing a car, right? Most people don't walk into a dealership and say, here's $24,000 for a car, right? So having a good credit score means that you're going to be able to take advantage of low rates or low interest rates on those items. It means that you are letting lenders know that you are fiscally responsible and that you can be trusted to pay back a loan. And so having a good credit score does that for you.
How can someone protect themselves against financial fraud and scams? We know they're so popular now, unfortunately.
They are. And I think the first thing is removing the emotion. You know, you get that text on your phone and you think, oh my gosh, my account, right? Someone has access to my account, or I need to do something. And I found myself in that situation. I'll never forget, I was sitting in a car, I was about to go into a doctor's appointment, and I get a text that we have blocked your account. You need to hit this link. And before hitting that link, I actually called my financial institution and said, hey, did you send out this message? Right? And they said, no, it's fraud. So I think the first thing is removing the emotion. I think the second thing is, if you ever have any questions, that you contact your financial institution to find out if they truly did send that message. And third, don't click on anything. Don't click on any links, right, that don't look familiar to you, whether that's an email or in text. I think it's really being diligent about protecting your personal identifiable information like your social security number, information like your accounts, your account numbers, making sure that you safeguard those and not provide them to anyone, even on paperwork that reputable sources may be asking, right? If you go into your doctor's office and they say, hey, you need to put your social security number down, my first question is why? Can we use another piece of information? So really being adamant about protecting that information.
And we know that having investments can help build a strong financial future, can help empower financial well-being. What are some beginner-friendly investment opportunities that you might suggest?
I think the easiest way to invest is to start with your employer. Most employers have a 401k that you can invest in. If you are investing in a 401k, are you taking advantage of the employer match so that you can get those, I call them free dollars. You don't want to leave any free money on the table. So making sure that you are taking advantage of that. If you do not have an employer that offers a 401k option, you can go to any financial institution and open whether it's a traditional individual retirement account or a Roth retirement account. You know, you have those options available, but those are really kind of those basic investments. If you've dabbled a little bit, there's a lot of apps out there where you can continue to dabble. If you're being a little bit more cautious and you want to have your money make money, the other thing that I recommend that I think is always safe is a certificate of deposit. You know, you're earning additional interest than you would in a standard savings account.
Lisa, are there any financial literacy programs or initiatives that you recommend?
There are a few. I'm always about what can I do to learn more. And so I think, you have to be curious about your finances and wanting to learn more. So I would say there's the CFPB, or the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, and they provide a lot of information about how you as a consumer can protect yourself and things that you should know about, especially whether it's purchasing a home or you know, credit cards, right? Some of those basic but major things. I think the other piece is the Federal Trade Commission. They talk a lot about fraudulent activities that are happening and ways that you can protect yourself from those. I think Desert Financial does an awesome job about providing our Learn Center, and our Learn Center really has information about financial well-being topics. We host monthly webinars. There are blogs about how to purchase a car loan. There's access to calculators. There's just a wealth of information there. And so I think the first step, though, is really becoming curious about those topics.
What are some actionable steps that viewers, our members, our team members, our community at large can take to help improve their financial well-being, improve their financial literacy education?
There's a few. I think the first step is if you don't have a budget or you haven't looked at your budget in a while, kind of take that puppy out, look at it, dust it off, make some changes, especially changes that are going to help you kind of weather what we're going through with heavy inflation rates. I think the other thing is if you are in a situation where you're preparing to, whether it's buy a car or buy your home, or even if you haven't done it in a while, I would say go to annualcreditreport.com, look at your credit report, see what things are on there. Is it accurate? Right? And start prepping yourself or positioning yourself to make those major purchases. Or if there's some work that you need to do, like I had to do back in the beginning, that's a great place to start. If you're looking for information to be kind of curious about, take a visit over to our website, desertfinancial.com, to see our Learn Center. It is an awesome space. I think those would be the first few steps I would take.
Thank you so much, Lisa. We are so fortunate to have your insight, your expertise on our team, empowering financial well-being. Hopefully you took some key takeaways, and we thank you for joining us. Again, April's Financial Literacy Month, and here at Desert Financial, we are making every effort to empower our members through our financial well-being education initiatives.